Bhajanitai Gaur Radhesham Japo Hare Krishna Hare Ram. Welcome. On the divine day of Sri Ramachandra, we will read the discourse 10 of book 9 of the SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, titled An Account of Sri Rama's Pastime. Om Nayanjana Timirandasyan Jana Jana Salakaya Shaksur Militanjana Tashmai Shri Gurave Nama. Vivyasadeva Ki Jai, Gadev Goswami Ki Jai, Sutadev Goswami Ki Jai, Shri Gokarna Ki Jai, Shri Shar Kumar Ki Jai, Shri Lakshmi Narayana Ki Jai, Shri Durga Mahadeva Ki Jai, Shri Saraswati Devi Ramadeva Ki Jai, Jai Jai Shri Radheshyam Jagannath Baladev Subhadrai Ki Jai, Nitai Gauranga Hari Hari Bo. An account of Sri Ram's pastime. Sri Shukla resumed, from the loins of Katvanga sprang up Dirga Bahu, the long-armed one, of whom was born Rahu, of wide renown. From the loins of the latter sprang up the great king Aya, of whom Dasaratha was born. Again, entreated by the gods, Lord Srihari himself, who has already been seen by you in your mother's womb, and who is entirely constituted of Brahma, the Absolute, assumed the role of a son to the blessed Dasaratha, appearing in as many as 4 forms under the names of Sri Ram, Bharat, Lakshman, and Satrughna, himself in his entire and his brothers as his part manifestation. The story in the form of a chronicle of the aforesaid Sri Ram, the spouse of Sita, has already been narrated in detail, O Pariksit, by seers like Valmiki, who had realized the truth and has undoubtedly been heard by you time and again. I shall accordingly content myself with reproducing it only in a nutshell. Having abandoned, for the sake of redeeming the pledge of his father, King Dasaratha, his title to kingship, he roamed about from forest to forest on his lotus feet, which were too soft even for the touch of the petal-like hands of his beloved consort Sita. His fatigue from the journey being relieved now and again by the blessed Hanuman Ki Jai, and his own younger brother Lakshman, who accompanied him to the forest and nicked his feet and other limbs along with Hanuman. The deity presiding over the ocean was terrified by the very display of his brows knit in anger, excited by the grievous separation from his beloved Sita, which has been brought about by the mutilation of Surpanaka, sister of Ravana, the demon king of Lanka, so called because she has nails as big as a winnowing basket, nay, whose nose and ears was chopped off by Lakshman at the instance of Sri Ram, an incident which provoked Ravana to abduct Sita in the absence of Sri Ram and Lakshman. May that lord of Kosal, Hod, who subsequently caused a bridge to be built across the sea and exterminate the host of wicked demons, include Ravana, even as a wildfire consume a walled forest, protect us. Jai Ram, earlier in the course of the sacrificial performance of the sage Vishvamitra, Marika, and other demons chiefs who roamed about and carried on their nefarious activities at night, were beaten up by him all alone, Lakshman standing and watching. 6. Picking up in the midst of an assembly of world-renowned heroes the formidable bone of Lord Shiva, lying in the hall specially built for the self-choice marriage of Princess Sita and brought conjointly by 300 men, he strung it and drawn it, broke it in the middle, O protector of men, as sportfully as an infant elephant will snap a stick of sugar cane, having won as the prize for his feat of valor Shri, the goddess of beauty and prosperity, whose virtuous disposition, age, limbs, and appearance eminently matched his nay, who, in the form of a golden streak, had already secured an honorable place on his bosom, and who bore the name of Sita, is subdued while on his way back to Ayodhya, the overgrown pride of Parasuram, the chief of the Brigus, who had tried 7 times, swept the earth clean, even of the seats of the Kshatriyas ruling race. Jai Parasuram. 8. The Lord Sri Krishna accepted with his head bent low the command of even his uxorious father King Dasaratha, who was bound by the cords of truthfulness and relinquishing his claim to the throne of Ayodhya, the imperial fortune, his loving relation, mother and so on, friends and dwelling place, even as an ascetic who has shaken off all attachments, will give up the ghosts, left for the woods along with his divine spouse, Sita. 9. While in the forest he mutilated the features of Surpanaka, the sister of the demon king, a woman of unclean mind, slew her kinsmen, numbering not less than 14,000, Kara, Dusara, and Trisira being the foremost of them, and roaming about with an irresistible bow in his hand, led a hard life, roaming about in the dense forest. 10. Observing the demon Marika, deputed in the form of a weird golden deer, O protector of men, by Ravana, the 10-headed monster, whose passion had been kindled on hearing a description of Sita from the lips of Surpanaka, and drawn away from his hermitage by the aforesaid deer, he forthwith killed Marika with an arrow, even as Virabhadra slew Daksha. Interesting word, the name of this demon, Marika. In Spanish, Marika is referred to an homosexual. 11. On Sita, the daughter of Janaka, the ruler of the Videha country, now known as Tirhut in North Bihar, having been forcibly carried away from the forest during his absence by Ravana, the vilest of the demons, even as a sheep is snatched away by a wolf. The Lord, who was thus disunited from his beloved consort, wandered in that forest along with his younger brother Lakshman, like a forlorn creature, exemplifying in that way the sad plight of those excessively given over to woman in love. 12. Having cremated, like a devoted son, Jatayu, the king of vultures, who had all his stock of karma whipped out through his heroic action in the shape of a duel with the mighty Ravana for Sri Rama's sake, for the deliverance of his beloved spouse Sita from the clutches of that tyrant, the Lord slew the demon Kavantha, who had stretched his arms to seize him. Then, cultivating friendship with the monkeys, Sugriva, Hanuman, and others, and ascertaining through them when Bali had been killed the whereabouts of his darling, the Lord, who behaved as a human being even though his feats are worshipped even by Brahma, the birthless creator, and Lord Shiva marched with the force of Sugriva, the ruler of the monkeys, to the seashore. 13. The deity presiding over the ocean found the crocodiles and alligators in it agitated by a fierce glance cast by him, in seeming anger, provoked by the deity of water, failure to appear before the Lord in spite of his waiting for him for 3 days without food and water. Nay, it is very roar, silence through fear. Therefore, assuming a living form and taking articles of worship on his head, the deity of the ocean waters approached the Lord's lotus feet and spoke as follows. 14. Dull-witted as we are, O infinite Lord, we are unable to know you, the most ancient person, the immutable supreme ruler of all the worlds. Surely you are no other than the Lord of Prakriti, consisting of the 3 gunas, from whose sattvika aspects sprang up hosts of divinities, from whose rajasika aspects the various lords of created beings, and from whose tamasic aspect appears the lords of ghosts. Be pleased now to march across the ocean at your will. Slay Ravana, who by his atrocities make the 3 words cry. Recover your spouse, O valiant one, and for the expansion of your fame construct here a bridge, reaching which monarchs intent on the conquest of the 4 quarters may sing your glory. Jai Ram, Sita Ram. Having accordingly constructed across the sea a bridge with mountain peaks of every description, full of trees, the boughs of which were shaken by the bands of monkey chiefs who handled them, the Lord accompanied by armies of monkeys led by Sugriva, Nila, and Hanuman, entered under the guidance of Vibhishana, the fortress of Lanka, already burned by Hanuman in course of his quest for Sita. Jai Hanuman, Jai Hanuman. 17. With its sports grounds, granaries, treasures, doorways, city gates, council chambers, porticos, and pigeon cots occupied by the army of monkey chiefs, and its platforms, flags, jars of gold placed on both sides of its entrance, and crossroads being destroyed, the city shook like a river churned by herds of elephants. 18. Perceiving this havoc, Ravana, the lord of the demons, deputed Nikumba, Kumba, Dhumraksa, Durmukha, Surantaka, Narantaka, and others, his son Meghanada, Prahasta, all his followers headed by Atikaya and Vikampana, and afterwards his younger brother Kumbhakarna, to meet the invading army, accompanied by Sugriva, the lord of the monkeys, Lakshman, his own younger brother, Hanuman, son of the wind god, Vayudev, Gandhamadan, Nila, Prince Angada, Sugriva's nephew, and her apparent, Jambavan, the king of the bears, Panasa, and others. Sri Rama too marched against that army of the demons, which was difficult to penetrate, armed as it was with cutlasses, sulas, sharp-pointed steel weapons, bows, brashas, darts, drishtis, double-edged swords, javelins, tomaras, iron clubs, and swords. 20. Meeting in a single combat the hostile army, consisting of elephants, foot soldiers, chariots, and cavalry, all the aforesaid generals of Sri Ram, the lord of the Raghus, Angada, and others struck with trees, rocks, maces, and arrows the demons whose lord Ravana had all his good luck whipped off by the abduction of Sita. 21. Enraged to see the destruction of his army and mounting the aerial car, Ravana, the lord of the demons, forthwith marched against Sri Ram, shining brightly in a splendid heavenly car brought by Matali, the charioteer of Indra, and struck him with sharpened arrows, having crescent-shaped heads. 22. Sri Ram said to him, O refuge of ogres, I whose prowess cannot be prevailed against, shall award this very day to you, who have cast all shame to the winds, even as Kala does to a perpetrator of sin, the fruit of your detested action, consisting of the fact that my beloved spouse was stolen away during my absence by your wicked self, who behaved like a dog. 23. Scolding him thus, the Lord discharged at him an arrow put by him to his bow, and it split his heart as adamant. Like a virtuous soul whose stock of merit as exhaust, he fell from his aerial car, vomiting blood through his thin mouth in the midst of his people, crying, Dear me, dear me. Jai Ram, issuing forth from Lanka in their thousand with Mandodari, the principal consort of Ravana, Rakshasa woman, now rushed, weeping bitterly, to the spot where Ravana lay dead. 25. Hugging each her own relations, struck down by the shafts of Lakshmana, Sri Rama's younger brother, they helplessly wailed in low tones as follows, beating their person with their own hands. Alas, undone we are, O Lord, O Ravana, who made the whole world weep by your tyranny, bereft of you and overrun by the enemy. Whom should Lanka seek as its protector? Swayed by passion, you did not realize, O highly blessed one, such extraordinary power of Sita's glory, by which you have been reduced to this miserable plight. Widowed in this Lanka as well as we, O delight of your race. Nay, your body has been made the food of vultures, and your soul rendered fit for hell. 29. Sri Sukha continued, encouraged by Sri Ram, Vibhishan, the youngest brother of Ravana, performed for the benefit of his kinsmen, Ravana and others, whatever is ordained in the scriptures, by way of seeking according to the procedure lay down for a sacrifice instead to propitiate the man's. 30. The Lord then saw in a retreat in Asoka garden his most beloved spouse, Sita, emanciate due to the torment of separation from him, and sit at the foot of Simsapa, Asoka tree. Observing her in that wretched plight, Sri Ram was filled with compassion. 31-34. Bestowing on Bibhisana, the ruler of the Rakshasas hoarders, the city of Lanka and longevity extend to the end of the Kalpa, and first helping Sita, the lotus of whose countenance was now blooming with joy, caused by his full vision, to mount the aerial car Pushpaka, the Lord, who had now completed his vow of residing in a forest for 14 years, stepped into the car along with his two brothers, his brother Lakshman and his adopted brother Sugriva, and further accompanied by Hanuman, flew back to his capital Ayodhya, showered over on the way with flowers offered by the guardians of the various worlds, his heroic deeds being joyfully celebrated all alone by Brahma, the Creator, and others, a highly merciful Lord, whoever felt much pain to learn about his younger brother Bharata, who, covering himself with the bark of trees, was living on barley boiled in the urine of cows. 35-37. Wore matted locks on his head and slept on the ground strewn with blades of the sacred Kusha grass. Hearing of Sri Ram having arrived, Prince Bharata placed on his head the latter's wooden sandals, gifted to him by the Lord as a token of love, and accompanied by the citizens of Ayodhya, his ministers and family priests, proceed from Nandigram, where he was camping, to meet his elder brother in the midst of festival songs and sounds of musical instruments, and further accompanied by great exponents of the Vedas, repeatedly chanting in loud tones sacred texts from the Vedas by flags with gilded edges, chariots of gold decked with flowers of various colors. 38-40. Noble horses with trapping of gold, warriors protected by gold armors, traders of every description, courtesans and servants following on foot, and also taking with him royal insignia in the shape of an umbrella, chowries, and so on, and valuable commodities, jewels, etc., of every description, great and small, by way of presents. Placing the sandal before Sri Ram, he dropped down at his feet, and heard, and eyes moistened with love, and stood with joined palms and eyes full of tears, keeping him folded in his arms for a long time and bathing him with tears flowing from his eyes. 41. Sri Rama himself, along with Lakshman and Sita, offered his greetings to the Brahmanas as well as to those others who were most deserving of honor, and was in his turn saluted by the people. 42. Observing their Lord return home after a long time, the inhabitants of North Kosala joyfully danced, waving their lovely scarves and showering flowers on him. 43. Bharata took his pair of wooden sandals, Vibhisana, along with Sugriva, who stood several on his right and left, a Chauri and excellent fan, respectively, and Hanuman, the son of the wind god, who stood behind the Lord, held the white umbrella over him. Shatrugna, the youngest brother of Sri Ram, bore his bow and the pair of quivers. Sita held the kamandalu, water pot of coconut shell, containing the water of sacred lakes and rivers. Angada carried his sword, and Jambavan, the king of the bears, his shield of gold, O protector of men. 45. Sitting in the aerial car named Pushpaka, attended by the aforesaid dancing women and panegyrized by bards, the Lord shone brightly, O king, like the rising moon in the midst of other planets. 46 and 47. Welcomed by his youngest brother, the Lord too entered the festive city, and on entering the royal palace, duly honored his stepmothers, Kaikeyi and so on, his own mother, the blessed Kausalya, preceptors, Vasishta, and others, his equals in age as well as those younger than he, and was honored in return by them. Likewise, Sita and Lakshman too met them in a befitting manner. 48. Rising from the seat, like dead bodies returning to life, the aforesaid mothers of this princess placed their sons on their lap and bathing them all over with a flood of tears, shed their grief of separation from them, causing the matted locks of Sri Ram to be disentangled. The sage Vasistha, his preceptor, along with the elders of his race, the Raghus, bathed him with the water of all 4 oceans and other sacred waters, even as the sage Brihaspati, the preceptor of the gods, bathed Indra, the ruler of the gods. 15. Having thus washed his whole body, including his head, nay, clad in beautiful attire and adorned with wreaths of flowers and ornaments, the Lord shone with his younger brother, Bharata, Lakshman, and Shatrughna, and divine consort Sita, who were all well adorned with jewels and elegantly dressed. 51. Won over by his brother Bharata through prostrations, Sri Ram accepted the throne of Ayodhya, and like a father protected the people of his kingdom, who were all devoted to their respective duties and endued with the characteristic of their own varna and ashram, while they, in their turn, recognize him as their father. So long as Sri Ram, who knew what is right and brought happiness to all created beings, reigned as king, time was like Krita Yuga, thought actually Tetra, prevailed. 53. For forests, rivers, mountains, varshas, dvipas, and oceans all yield the desired objects for the people, O chief of the Bharatas. 54. While Sri Ram, who is the same as Lord Vishnu, ruled as king, mental and bodily ailments, old age, self-disparagement, sorrow, grief, fear, and fatigue were non-existent. Nay, death too did not overtake the unwilling. 55. Strictly observing the vow of having only one wife throughout his life and conducting himself like a sage, even through a king, the pious Lord himself scrupulously performed his household duties just in order to give a lesson to the people. 56. By her affection, obedience, amiable disposition, intelligence, and bashfulness, Sita, who was not only virtuous but met true humility, knew his intention, captivated the mind of her divine spouse. Thus ends the 10th discourse forming part of the narrative of Sri Ram in Book 9 of the great and glorious Bhagavata Purana, otherwise known as the Paramahamsa Samhita. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Bhagavata Purana ki jai, Paramahamsa Samhita ki jai. Sita Ram Lakshman Bhakta Hanuman ki jai. Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. As always, do what is correct. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Thanks very much for watching. See you in the next. Vayo Nitai Gaura Radhe Shyam Japo Hare Krishna Hare Ram.